You never stop learning as a pharmacist. So far as getting out of pharmacy school, almost like 9 months right now. It's crazy how fast graduation has already been gone. The one major thing I've learned so far from my experience as a pharmacist is you never stop learning. People think that once you get out of pharmacy school, all the 4 years that I went through, it's just magically gonna stick in my head forever. And that is unfortunately far beyond the truth. It's not the reality. The one thing, and I will never forget, literally my professor, my pharmacology professor, he sat down and told me, because I remember I told him in my second year how overwhelmed I was with all the materials I was learning. He literally told me, Harry, you don't need to stress on yourself, okay? Pharmacy is a lifelong learning. And you're not going to remember everything even after you finish pharmacy school. And ever since that day, I kid you not, I took that advice and kept that in my pocket for the rest till today. That advice alone unleashed all the overwhelming anxiety that was distressed in my heart from that first 2 years. Because I always thought, what if I forget all of this materials that I'm learning today? He literally told me, he's like, he's been a pharmacist for 40 plus years, and he still has to learn new things. He still has to keep up with the changes in the guideline, right? For an example, the ADA guideline, their guidelines constantly change, and it may be a little bit of tweaks here and there, but who knows? It may have an impact in wherever you practice at, and you have to make sure you keep up to date with that, right? But for you guys who are out there who feel like you're very overwhelmed because pharmacy school just throws everything at you, because yes, it is a lot and it is very challenging, but always understand that everything that you're learning in pharmacy school, you will eventually revisit it one point of your career. And it's okay if you learn it now and forget a year later, right? When I was on rotations, I still had to go and reference back to my first year and second year notes because I forgot, right? And you may feel discouraged because sometimes your preceptors may go hard on you and say things like, oh, you should know this. But that's just not the reality. And it's funny because they should know themselves too, that if you're a third year student, right, and you have a preceptor, you should challenge them too. You should challenge them something that you're currently learning as a P3 and ask them a question about what you're learning and see if they remember it. They probably may not. And I'm just being truthful because I've seen things that first year pharmacy students, second year pharmacy students are like learning right now. And I forgot. I'm like, please, like, educate me. Like let me refresh my memory, And this is just the reality of it. You guys have to understand that it's not the end all be all if there's certain things that you forget. Don't make it a pride thing where it's like, I must remember everything in this book while I'm in pharmacy school. And I'm like, you are going to burn yourself out. I promise you. Take this from someone who made it through pharmacy school, You don't need to remember every single word in the book that you're learning, right? It's good to remember the high yield things, right? Like pharmacology, understanding the drug classes, all of those nuances. But for the most part, things like pharmacotherapy, you can always revisit those specific guidelines, especially certain topics that you may not commonly see in practice. Obviously, things like hypertension, diabetes, heart failure, those kind of things, you obviously should know those for sure. But, other disease states that you may not commonly see as often unless you're specializing, like maybe certain cancer therapies, you may not see that often unless you actually go and specialize in oncology. So this is just a little quick video because I want to shed some light for you guys who are currently in the phase where you feel discouraged, where you feel like, oh, I have to know everything right now, or else I'm going to be a failure in my career, or I'm going to be an unreliable pharmacist. And it's like, no, right? There's still questions that I have to ask pharmacists, and there's questions that pharmacists ask me. We all are a team. We all exchange specific knowledges, and you should never feel discouraged to go and seek help if you need to go and ask for help. That's why a lot of, wherever the jobs you work at, they have resources embedded in the system so that you can always reference back to it. You know, if they didn't embed those resources and assume that you just knew everything, do you know how much patient safety errors that are going to be documented every single month? Pharmacists would be sued left and right if we did not have any forms of resources embedded in the system. So that's why you have to realize that they have those resources embedded in the system for a reason, to help mitigate patient error. So always remember that and never feel discouraged, and take this from a new grad pharmacist, that it's okay for you to not remember everything off the book. I promise you on that. Have a good one, guys.